Today's video, gents, we're having a lot of fun. I've got a style battle. In one corner, we've got Jason Statham. In the other corner, we've got Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock. Now for today's fight, we're gonna have 5 rounds. And stick around for round number 3. We're gonna talk about watch game. That round is gonna be really close. Round 1, let's talk about their ability to rock a suit. First up, we've got Jason Statham. And I have to give him the advantage here because he's English. Why does a suit always look good on Jason Statham? Because he loves bespoke suits. It means that these suits are works of art. They are beyond custom. Everything is designed for the wearer. So when it comes to his suits, it comes to his shirts, the fit is going to be spot on. So when we look at Jason in suits, the fit is always on point. And let's look at his choice of colors. He likes to go for darker colors, which work with a wide variety of different complexions, but his is a little bit more difficult. He shaved his head. Now, he doesn't always wear a tie with a suit, but when he does, he's on point. He knows how to tie a tie. He always gets that dimple right there. The guy just looks great in a suit. So now let's talk about Dwayne Johnson in suits. So he comes from a family of wrestlers. Suits weren't something they wore every day, but when The Rock wears a suit, he looks good. Why? He's also getting them custom made, which is expected because of his height and his body build. It would be next to impossible to find something off the rack. What I also like about The Rock is he brings in a wide variety of lighter colors. He also brings in a lot of fun patterns and colors as well. Now, The Rock isn't much of a neckwear guy, but one thing I do like is when he does choose a knot, he goes for a larger knot. He's got just a larger head, a bigger body, and so he goes with a knot that works with his proportions. All right, so round 1, who's the winner? I got to give this one to Jason Statham, and this is why. The X factor is that Jason, in many of his movies, he's fighting in a suit. Have you ever seen those transporter movies? The guy is literally using the suit jacket as a weapon. Absolutely love it. And because of that, I got to give this round to Jason Statham. Round 2, casual style. So starting things off with Jason Statham, what do we notice about his casual clothing? It fits his body. And he's got certain pieces which he goes to again and again. Leather jackets. Have you ever noticed how he's always going for a leather jacket? Now, Jason doesn't need to further build up his upper body with a leather jacket, but he does it anyway to accentuate his strengths. Now, with that leather jacket, he's also going to pair it with a casual shirt. He's going to take a pair of dark colored jeans, match them right there with the jacket. Great combination. And boots. Chelsea boots, maybe you want to go with a combat boot design, whatever type of boots Jason's going with, they give him a couple extra inches. Every guy can use a couple extra inches, make it look a little bit taller, a little bit leaner, a better look. Now let's talk about casual clothing and The Rock. So the guy grew up in Florida, went to the University of Miami, was a wrestler, went into Hollywood. He's understood the power of always looking like a professional, even when the weather is hot and everyone's going to make an excuse for it. When you look at this guy and look at his history, he understood the power of color, of patterns, working with his complexion. And I really like, despite the heat, despite all these different career paths, he always understood, hey, how I dress, even when I'm off work, is still my brand and who I represent. When you see The Rock, even if he's heading out to the gym, he still looks good. He still looks professional. Now, he can dress up a bit, go with a casual suit, but he more likes to dress down. He's oftentimes showing off his build. He's working with that whole Florida feel, and I really like it. So this one was really close, but I got to give this one to The Rock. I love his use of patterns, of colors, and because of that, I'm going to give him this round. Round 3, watch game. This round is going to be really close. So let's start things off with Jason Statham in the movie Mechanic Resurrection. So the most touching scene, he's handing over his beautiful watch, an IWC Aquatimer Automatic 2000, to Jessica Alba, just in case something happens to him. He wants this watch, to be passed on. Whether it's in his movies, whether it's in real life, Jason Statham loves watches. So in the movie Transporter 2, what do we see? The Panerai Luminor Chrono Daylight. In Expendables 2, what is he wearing? His Panerai Luminor Submersible 1950 3 days automatic Bronzo. And what about for the movie The Meg? We've got the IWC Aquatimer Perpetual Calendar Digital Date Month Edition 50-year Aquatimer. He's also got a Patek Nautilus 5980, an IWC Doppel chronograph, and a vintage Rolex Daytona. And let's not forget about his 2008 movie, The Bank Job. What's he wearing? A Tag Heuer Monaco. He also did a series of interviews about watches, and they asked him, what do you look for in a watch? What matters to you? And I loved his answer about precision. He was really clear, hey, I was a diver. I went and did all these competitions, and I understand the importance of performance. And that's what he looks for in his watches. Now let's talk about The Rock's watch collection. Very similar to Jason, he wants functionality. But another thing he's looking for is size. Very important that you get the proportions right. In an interview talking talking about watches, he's quoted as saying, "A watch is a reflection of the person who wears it." So for a guy my size, you can imagine a lightweight watch isn't going to last long or look the part. What I look for in a watch is how it's made, what goes into it, and of course, the design. I prefer materials that will stand to the test of time, my lifestyle, of course. Whereas you change the clothes to suit your weather or what you're doing or where you're going, I like a watch that I can wear for any occasion. When I go to a movie premiere, I'm not thinking, what kind of watch goes with this shirt or jacket? For me, a watch is a tool, a good looking tool granted, but definitely not a piece of jewelry. So what particular watches does The Rock wear? Well, first up, we've got the IWC Big Pilot Heritage, 46mm in a titanium case. He's also been spotted wearing the Breitling Transocean Chronograph Unitime in rose gold. Now, when it comes to size and proportions, most Rolexes wouldn't work for The Rock, but one in particular does, and that is the Sea Dweller. So this is something The Rock has pulled off and is a great looking functional tool watch. Yes, it's made to go to the bottom of the ocean and be able to tell the time and actually tell you how much oxygen you have left. Now in the movie Fast and Furious 5, you may have noticed he was wearing a Panerai Luminor submersible. It's a very functional watch, easy to read. It can go down to depths of 1,000 meters. And how does The Rock choose a watch? In the interview I read, he talked about how he lifts up the watch, he holds it, and he wants to go for something that has weight to it, something that feels solid. And he knows it doesn't always make sense because there are tons of materials out there that are lighter than steel. Very lightweight, still very tough, but he likes something that feels heavy in the hands. I know I do as well. Another thing he talked about, looking at making sure everything is very legible. He wants to be able to read it. Again, functionality. He's going to turn that bezel. He wants to hear it click. He wants to feel quality. So choosing a winner for this round was really tough. And if you disagree with my choice, let me know down in the comments, but I had to go with Jason Statham, just barely, and the reason being is he also collects vintage watches. So Jason also has an orange hand Rolex Explorer. This is a classic, great looking watch, and I thought it was cool for him to actually have one of these. And he had this other quote, which was just amazing, that behind every finely crafted watch, there's an intellectual process, a challenge, and the desire to always set the bar higher. Round 4, cars. So what are we going to see in Jason Statham's garage? Well, let's start with a Ferrari F12. We've got an Aston Martin DBS, we've got a Porsche 911 GT2, and we've got a Jaguar E-Type. Now, I don't know about you, but that Jaguar E-Type is absolutely beautiful. What I like about Jason is that he really understands timeless classic style. Now let's talk about The Rock. So what's interesting about The Rock is you see him posing with a number of vehicles, but he doesn't actually keep them because he can't fit into too many of them. When you're a big, large guy like this, you need a car that's going to work for your body. So first up, we've got his Pagani. Great looking sports car, definitely something you would expect a Hollywood action star to own. He also owns a Rolls-Royce Wraith. What I liked about this vehicle is it's a little bit different, and the size of it, it's going to fit well for his body type. He's able to get into it comfortably. Now this next car was a little bit of a surprise, and that's a 1999 Plymouth Prowler. Initially, I was like, okay, so what's the big deal about this? But then I saw The Rock driving, I saw the video, I saw the pictures. I'm like, you know, this suits his personality. It's a great looking vehicle, very casual, very fun, but it actually fits The Rock very well. But my favorite vehicle The Rock has, a custom-built F-150. Now, I'm a Chevy guy, but I appreciate Ford and what they've done, and it's a great truck. So who is the winner here? I've got to give this one to The Rock. Why? Again, very close, but here's the deal, is The Rock actually does a lot for veterans. And I read this story about how he actually introduced one of the new Ford Mustangs and then presented it to a veteran. I mean, stuff like that I just absolutely love, so I've got to give this one to The Rock. Round 5, gentlemen, confidence. Now, 2 facts you may not know about Jason Statham. Number 1, he does all of his own stunts. This makes sense. The guy was a stuntman. Before that, he was a professional diver. He knows how to control his body. And when you can control your body, you're in charge of the way your muscles move, and you know that you can do certain things. All of a sudden, that gives you a very strong feeling of confidence. Another thing about Jason Statham, he's a very intelligent guy. So apparently him and Guy Ritchie, they're big chess players. And every time they're on a movie set together, they play a few games. Let's just say, from what I hear, Guy Ritchie owes Jason a lot of money because Jason just cleans house. And here's Jason's advice to gaining confidence. Very simple, very practical. Change your stride, put your shoulders back, and walk tall. Take a martial art or a sport, something that gives you a skill, engages the body, and allows you the possibility of being great, or at least being active. You'll find your confidence. Without it, you're nothing. It's the remedy for everything. I don't know about you, gents, but I absolutely love that quote. And now let's talk about The Rock. When it comes to confidence, if I were to look that up in the dictionary, I would expect to see a picture of The Rock. I mean, this guy is the embodiment of confidence. You look at where he comes from, a family of wrestlers, so he's got the genetic makeup to have that strong masculine build. He went to the University of Miami, played football there. All of a sudden, he gets into wrestling and he shoots up, becomes known as The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and all of a sudden then he goes to Hollywood. He's able to hit movie hit after movie hit. But what's interesting about The Rock is how he admits how he wasn't always very confident. In fact, he talks about when he was a kid, how he wasn't confident. He was this little brown boy moving around, living in a different town every single year because he's following his family around. And he's really just trying to fit in, find his place. He's got this afro going all over the place. And he's just, hey, I didn't really know who I was. I did not have much confidence. So what's his secret for gaining confidence? Here's what he said. Be at ease, be real, and your confidence and cool will come. Trust me, I'm the dude who between the ages of 9 and 11, people thought I was a little girl because my hair and features were so soft. So I really like this because it makes him so human, and we see this guy up there at the top of his game, but you got to remember, when he was younger, he had very soft features, and he was not this confident, strong man that we see nowadays. All right, so who's the winner here? Again, incredibly close, but I'm going to have to go with The Rock. Why? I love the fact that he's vulnerable. And I'm sure there's some interview out there where Jason Statham is very vulnerable, talks about things, but I've just got to, maybe I'm going with the American here. The point being, I want to hear from you guys down in the comments. And if you want more like this, check out this video right here. We've got Mr. John Wick versus James Bond. Who's going to win this style battle? Find out, gentlemen. I will link to that video down in the description.